Okay, welcome. We're going to talk about the Unvanquished. I want to thank Brian for his video. Sparked a lot of thought, and I'm just going to shoot this off the cuff. There's a lot of shenanigans in this novel. It's a good end to Faulkner. It really is. Brian left out a lot of plot twists with Granny. Let me just start from the beginning with Baynard and Ringo. Ringo is the black slave, and he is part of the family, and it was probably Colonel Sartorus's son. That's conjecture. He was like raised from the teat. He was nursed. Okay, so he was brought up in the family, and he remains throughout the novel. Now, this is Reconstruction when the North, the Yankees, raped and pillaged, but they had ethics. When the war was over, murder was really low. General Lee is known for his humanitarianism and known for even seeing Yankees on the battlefield and not killing them, but actually lifting them up, raising his hand, and like that. But that's not. This novel is after that. After the war. Granny, so she's ripped off, and they took her horses and silver, which she buried in the yard, which is Southern. Don't trust banks. And she goes off to get her property back. And they find out, Ringo does, they can forge the stationery saying that Colonel, I forget his name in the novel, such and such, says that you owe us so many mules and so much silver. Well, they get a little business going about the mules. They make money off it. They're conning the Yankees. Now, Granny gets killed over this through Abe Snopes. It all takes place in, let me say it, Yaknatofa County, right? I mean, here is to remind me. Let me show you. That's from Absalom. Anyway, you have to admit. So the opening of the novel has Ringo and Baynard actually shoot at Yankee soldier. They hit the horse, and they have to put the horse down. But the two kids run and hide under Granny's skirts and get away with it. Now, the Yankee soldier, I don't have his name, I'm sorry, but he plays along with this. He knows the kids are hiding under her skirts, and it's reminiscent of Mark Twain and that. This will show up later in the novel when Granny is dealing with these certificates to get her mules back. She runs into the same soldier, and he acts like he doesn't remember. That's how the novel starts out. So many layers to this novel, and it was published as a group of 7 short stories, but you can't tell. Faulkner ties it together with the last chapter, The Odor of Verbena, and then the character of Drusilla is so complex, and she goes mad at the end. There's that word, I will look this up, that Baynard repeats. What is it? Something about the bloody, it's just, where is it? This novel is so complex. Boy, I can't even find it. Oh yeah, and at the end when Baynard is confronting his father's killer, he is literally panting with anxiety to face this guy. Now, I'm going to digress here a little bit and talk about the Civil War. Is really tied in. These are like it's like the Revolutionary War with their tactics. They rifles were just being manufactured and invented. This was a war of hand-to-hand combat, bayonets, and that really horrific. Brian also touched on. Now I'm going to talk about. I was born in Toledo, Ohio, so I'm a Yankee. But I have ties to the South. I have Southern blood in me from Daytona Beach. My last name. They were famous for Mahan Tile down there. The business been going on for like 75 years. I also lived in Moultrie, Georgia, 20 miles north of Tallahassee, and it was when the rebel flag things were popping up and the statues, taking them down. It was really exciting to be there. I was ignorant about the fact that Georgia had a rebel flag on their flag until recently. Mississippi still does, as far as I know. But so I'm all in favor of taking out the rebel flag. My high school in Toledo, we were the Bowser Rebels, and I had a rebel flag, a big one that would cover like a window. And I took it to Kent State with me and put it in my dorm window. Was proud of it. And my Southern blood, proud of being a rebel. Now these days we have more brains and more sense with the animosity of the Trump stuff, and Democrats and Republicans. That could have it could have. We were having some back in 2016. Heated debates about that stuff. My father's a staunch Christian Republican and votes NRA all the way. I'm not. I'm a liberal Democrat. So getting back to the novel, yeah, I could do parts 3 and parts 4 on this. It's kind of funny. We decided Brian and I to do this during Christmas time, but he's got a real love for Faulkner in him, as I do too. And I would like to do a buddy read and a group read of The Sound and the Fury next year. The Unvanquished kind of reminds me of, as far as an end to Faulkner, we talk about an end to Faulkner. As I Lay Dying has always been a humorous novel to me too, in an off way. There's a lot of humor in The Unvanquished, a lot, and it makes me feel a little strange to say, like I'm into it or I enjoyed the reading, because it's so. How can you enjoy the Civil War? But having said that, I also think Light in August was a much more cathartic reading for me, and it's much more violent. Although the Civil War and all that, The Unvanquished, it doesn't have a lot of violent scenes in it. It really doesn't. That we're told secondhand of things like that, the killings and that. But if anyone has any interest in Faulkner, please comment, and we'll definitely do some more Faulkner. With that, I hope I encouraged you to read more about the Civil War and more about Faulkner. And he's not this I just love reading Faulkner. Faulkner's up there with James Joyce and Pynchon to me. So I'm going to get back to the game. ASU is playing in the Vegas Bowl, my alma mater, and they're losing last time I looked, but it's a good game. So with that, I'll bid you adieu.